Hello everyone, Roddy here, and today I want to share 3 boss mechanics that I want to see in the upcoming expansion of Final Fantasy XIV, Endwalker. Now if you would like to see more of these short contents weekly, hit the like button and remember to subscribe in order to support me in making more of these videos. Bosses in Final Fantasy XIV comes in various level of category and difficulty. In Final Fantasy XIV, there are trial bosses, raid bosses, alliance raid bosses, savage, extreme, and ultimate bosses. Today's topic will cover the types of mechanics specifically from dungeon bosses. Number 1. Mechanics with a secondary objective in a boss battle. The second boss in Tamtara Deepcroft hard mode requires your party to kill spare body while keeping the NPC character in the center alive. Throughout the fight, players will have to defend Pio Rayo from taking damage from Nameless Spirit. Players are also allowed to heal the character when his HP goes down. If Pio Rayo dies, your party is punished with a huge AoE damage over a period of time until you wipe. We have seen this kind of mechanics happening over and over again in the history of Final Fantasy. Remember having to save Princess Garnet from Evil Cage? Or keeping Rinoa alive from Sorceress Adele? Now, I'm not saying that we should have more of these keep someone alive kind of mechanics in Endwalker. What I am suggesting is to have more secondary based objective in dungeon bosses where if you don't fulfill it, you will be punished, and this will definitely keep boss battles more engaging and not very linear. Number 2. Terrain based mechanics. This is a mechanic that we don't see often in dungeon boss fights. But what inspired me to talk about this today is the boss battle against Hrisvelga in Saw Kai. In Saw Kai, players are given options of platforms to stand on while battling against the boss. During the course of the battle, Hrisvelga will also cast spells to destroy these platforms. Players will then have to navigate through the platforms available, avoiding AoEs, damaging the boss, while also enjoying the beautiful scenery being on some kind of this dragon's paradise. There are other dungeons in Final Fantasy XIV that utilizes terrain-based mechanics. In Zemil Dark Hole, players are required to have the boss standing on a particular section of the field in order to deal damage to him. In this context, we are talking about the area with lights coming from the crystal. You will not be able to damage the boss if it is outside of this area. I can imagine more of these mechanics like this in future that requires some strategy. Hullbreaker Isle also have some form of gimmicks that is similar to that of Saw Kai, where players will have to move between platforms to reach the boss. Lastly, Egg-Thorn, the last boss of Dawn Mag in the Shadowbringers expansion, has an ability to split the room in half, creating a massive hole in the ground. You will need to walk across a thin, winding walkway to reach him. Fortunately, falling in this chasm does not kill your character, but stuns them for a few seconds, naming you a tumbling fool. Number 3. Bardam's Metal. Bardam's Metal is a level 65 dungeon introduced to us in Stormblood. The second boss in Bardam's Metal is called Bardam, and facing Bardam is where the games begin. You, as the Warrior of Light, will be tested on your literacy of boss mechanics in Final Fantasy XIV up to this point. You will need to evade 3 rounds of attack combos from Bardem, ranging from gaze-based mechanics to meteor to, well, just finding the right spot to stand on, right? This is the only boss fight that is non-combat in the history of dungeon bosses in Final Fantasy XIV. With the implementation of many new mechanics introduced in Shadowbringers, I hope to see another type of Bardem's Metal dungeon available in Endwalker. This will have us break out of the typical combat-based mechanics and probably make you use a little bit more of your brains. Having said all that, I do enjoy some of the other unique dungeon boss mechanics that were introduced to us in Final Fantasy XIV. However, these were the top 3 mechanics that I would personally like to see in the upcoming expansion of Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. Let me know in the comment section below some of your favorite dungeon boss mechanics. So that's it for today's video. I will see you next time.